You got to understand that the sequel trilogy. See, the thing about the sequel trilogy is the fact that it didn't just invalidate the previous movies, it was very disrespectful and insulting. Take The Last Jedi, for instance. Think about Luke Skywalker. When has he ever demonstrated a level of moral grayness or immorality towards, especially his own nephew? I mean, if he was willing to spare Vader, his own father, why is he all of a sudden looking at this kid who's asleep in his room, thinking, oh my goodness, there's darkness in his heart, and the only solution, I just gotta kill him. I just don't know. What the hell is this? What is this? What in the flippity flying fuck is this doing here? Okay? What the hell? Rian Johnson is a hack. All right? And he's overrated. And they see him as the visionary for this because he did something unexpected. He's such a visionary. People asked him a simple question. Rian Johnson, do you think there's anything wrong with your film? This dude was like, no. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? What kind of pompous dude is like, I can't even acknowledge if there's a flaw in my movie? See, these movies have so many issues. People complain about the prequels and say, oh, look at the slapstick in the prequels. Look at all the corny stuff in the prequels. Oh, really? You don't think that shooting guards with coins from BB-8 is slapstick? But you want to talk shit about the prequel slapstick? Oh, but we're just going to brush past Cancel Bite and pretend like that slapstick just didn't fucking exist. Get the fuck out my face. Get the fuck out my face. And right along with the side of kiss my ass. Don't give me that bullshit when you know damn well that that is the same thing. You cannot deny that. And you can't sit there and single out the prequels for the moments that it had with slapstick and then just pretend like the new trilogy didn't just have shit with ridiculous slapstick. That means how are you going to get on the prequels when look at the new trilogy? These movies are beyond disrespectful. They're beyond insulting, telling you, oh, the legacy and values, they don't mean anything. Let it die. Let go, original trilogy fanboys. That's what they're trying to tell you, OT purists. Let it all go, original trilogy purists. Let it go. Isn't that hypocritical coming from Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, and Bob Iger? When these are the same people who fucking copied and duplicated aspects of the original trilogy, but they want to hypocritically tell people to let it go. Suck my dick. Don't tell me shit, because you can't tell anybody to let anything go. That's bullshit. And it is because how are you going to tell people to let stuff go when you're copying it yourself? You're duplicating aspects of the original trilogy yourself. You're duplicating aspects of the 6 films because you don't have the EU to work with because you decided to get rid of that. So the only thing you have to work with is the 6 films, and you're disregarding 3 of them, the prequels, pretending like they don't exist due to PR. So then you only have the original trilogy to reference, and you're copying it yourself, but you want to turn around and tell people they need to let it go. The Last Jedi was so disrespectful, telling you to let the past die, kill it if you have to. Having Luke Skywalker say that the legacy of Jedi is failure. What is he blaming the Jedi for when they're the ones who wrote him trying to kill a kid? All of a sudden he blames the Jedi text for that. What does the Jedi text have to do with any of that? Nothing. That's the point. Nothing at all. And they decided to add that there. Oh, the legacy of the Jedi's failure. Anyway, they don't even have an understanding of those movies, but they want to talk about the prequels. The same movies that they were too afraid over PR. Now they want to talk about it. What the hell is that about? You know, the sequel trilogy is disrespectful, and there's so much flawed storytelling. Luke Skywalker as a force projection. You notice how, just like in The Last of Us 2, and in The Force Awakens, and in The Last Jedi, what do they all have in common? I'll tell you. Guess what? They'll kill off some of the most pivotal and important and essential characters in the emptiest, worst, most poorly written way possible. In a way that's literally just designed for shock value and divisiveness to get people to rally and say, no, man, this, just to get people hooked and stuff. It's really cheap and poorly written and sloppy. I'll give you an example. Han Solo. He couldn't sense. He was force sensitive in the movie. This is something the movie doesn't tell you, but he was starting to sense the force in the movie. All of a sudden, he sees Kylo. He can't sense his intentions. He can sense the fact that his son is close to him, but he can't sense his intentions. He can't sense his intentions. And then all of a sudden, Kylo is holding his lightsaber. I need you to come and hold this with me. You don't think that's suspicious? Even if you're not force sensitive, regardless of being force sensitive or not, which he was in the movie, because that's what the movie was dignifying and signifying. But even regardless of that, why would he then go up to his son who's telling him, he knows he turned into a Sith Lord. He's over here telling you, hold my lightsaber with me. That doesn't even sound right. What the hell is that? He should have already known that there was something wrong. You could tell, even without Force sensitivity, that Kylo had bad intentions. And then he kills him in the worst, most poorly written way possible, all because apparently Harrison Ford wanted to get killed off. Okay, but you could have done that way better. You could have written that better than the way you did it. That was so sloppy. But then it gets worse. Then look at Luke. First, they demoralize him. I understand you want him to be a reclusive, grumpy Luke. Oh, badass. Cool. I'm down with that. What the fuck? A reclusive, grumpy old Luke? Cool. He's, has some issues. He's going through the hero's journey and stuff like that. And sometimes they have triumphants, but sometimes they have falls. And you get to see them during that journey. That's interesting. What do? Rian Johnson wants to do something unexpected, quote unquote. Instead, he has him contemplate killing his own nephew, which contradicts his decision that he made in episode 6. And it's crazy, because what dude in his right mind is going to think about killing their own nephew because they're scared of some dark vision? That's really stupid. But even if you want to take that vision seriously, do you really think contemplating killing him is going to solve anything? No. That's common sense. Who the hell jumps to the conclusion of, wait, I got to kill him? Who does that? That's even if you took Luke away and replaced him with another character, you still have to explain that with context development, regardless of whether it's Luke or not. That's why the whole concept itself was flawed on a fundamental level. And they decided to just add that into the movie because, I got to have my shock value. Rian Johnson, I got to have my staple. I want people to know that I have my staple on Star Wars. See, I made a Star Wars movie. And Rian Johnson's so egotistical, he even said that himself. Guys, we made a Star Wars movie. That's all he cared about. The fact that he can put his precious, precious name on the holy sanctum of Star Wars. Ooh, look at me. Oh, my God. Whatever. That's ridiculous. That's all he cared about. Ego. Demoralizing Luke's character, not explaining or developing what you wrote for his character with any context or development or buildup or anything. Just, he just wants to kill him and that's it. And bam. That is beyond sloppy. That is beyond poorly written. What were you thinking? No handling of his character. They always do this. Now, then how does he die? He doesn't train Rey. They barely make him do anything throughout the entire movie but be grumpy all day and say go away and stuff. And then he dies from a force projection. What kind of empty, unfulfilling shit is this? What the fuck? It is so empty. What the hell is this? It is one of the single emptiest, most pointless ways of doing that to one of the most pivotal and important and essential Star Wars characters of all time. All the development, everything that Luke has ever been through in the original trilogy, all regulated to him becoming a force projection to buy the resistance like a few moments of time, and then he just dies from a force projection. That is so unsatisfying. What the hell, man? What were they thinking? That's what I mean. This new trilogy is just unsatisfying. That was unsatisfying. The Force Awakens, okay, it was kind of fun, but that was duplicating aspects of A New Hope because you were too afraid, so you wanted to play it safe, and you didn't want people to lash out about prequel backlash or it's something new. Look out. So you just completely unoriginal, and you don't get a new experience out of it, and you don't get the same level of subtlety and nuance you get from A New Hope anyway. So that's gone. But then you have The Last Jedi, which you think that it's asking deeper questions, but this is coming from a dude who didn't even do his research. So Rian Johnson didn't even research before trying to quote-unquote deeply assess the Star Wars universe. They're not even hiring people who know about the expanded universe or at least know about the lore. You know what I'm saying? So they know what they're talking about. He doesn't know. And that's who they decided to get. Then you have The Rise of Skywalker, the single worst. Just when you thought that maybe this trilogy could be saved, it's impossible. Because The Last Jedi split fans in half because all they cared about was being divisive over upholding the legacy. But then you have The Rise of Skywalker, that's your last chance to do something decent, because you at least have The Force Awakens, which is at least somewhat fun. So you at least got one. You only have one okay, decent film out of your entire trilogy, and it's just okay. It's like a 7, like overall. I give it, just to be nice, I give it a 7.7. Bam. All right, that should be fair. Okay, so that's all you got. You have a 7.7 out of your entire trilogy because The Last Jedi is so divisive and manipulative. I mean, you didn't get any part of the storyline right. You had a deeper, you claimed that you were going to tackle some deep concept about, let go of the Sith and Jedi, only for everyone to go back to the same thing anyway. Rey is still with the Resistance, which is inevitable, But then Kylo says, let go of the Sith and Jedi, and he returns to the First Order. So what was the purpose of breaking that down if you weren't even going to tackle that concept? So even the quote-unquote deeper aspects of The Last Jedi were just unfinished concepts and ideas that were never even fully tackled anyway. So that movie is so overrated. And the fact that people go on and on about how he's such a visionary and then say George Lucas is a fraud, like for rather than media, oh, get the hell out of here with that. Oh my goodness. No, George Lucas is a cinematic visionary. Rian Johnson, he's overrated. He's overrated as hell. I'm tired of people putting him up as he's the visionary when George Lucas was the innovator of filmmaking, you know? And yeah, The Rise of Skywalker is the single worst Star Wars movie of all time. Just when you thought maybe they could save it, maybe they could at least add this movie. No, you got two movies that are just really bad movies out of your whole trilogy. And you got one okay film. That's your new trilogy. The trilogy where they only have like one movie that's just like okay. And that's just because they copied stuff from A New Hope. Wow. It's just, what in the world? This is Disney's new trilogy.
Given what the sequel trilogy has done to the Star Wars universe, why do people single out the prequels for its spastic and few hiccups, but the sequel trilogy suddenly gets a free pass? First, people say, oh, Clone Wars is so much better than the prequel trilogy. Really? Oh, Anakin is finally the stoic character we always wanted after the original trilogy came out. Oh, wow. Oh, the EU was trash anyway. And The Last Jedi expanded the depth of Star Wars to the likes in which people have never seen. Oh, boy. Number one, kiss my fucking ass. Kiss my fucking ass. Number 3, kiss my fucking ass. Stop with this bullshit of, oh, Clone Wars redeems the prequels. It needed that show to gauge its own quality, my ass. Motherfucker, it already had quality. So hearing that red letter media shit is frustrating as hell. Bitch, you better be fucking grateful we have intelligent and profound films like the prequels in the modern era. We could have gotten some generic action movie slop. Instead, we get something with a little more depth. Rian Johnson, the visionary who took Star Wars to bold new heights, is now praised for tackling new concepts in Star Wars, except letting go of the past, Sith and Jedi was tackled in the EU aside from letting go of the past. The original Jedi used Sith and Jedi arts, yeah, that was in the expanded universe, so when they talk about the new Dawn of the Jedi movie that's rumored to have been referenced in The Last Jedi, that concept was already tackled in the EU, and unlike The Last Jedi, it didn't have nihilistic and hypocritical bullshit added to it. You may be wondering, nihilistic, hypocritical, what do you mean? Oh well, I'll tell you what the fuck I mean. First off, motherfucker, how is Bob Iger and Caitlin, this moron, gonna tell people, and yes, I said moron, gonna tell people, oh, let go of the original trilogy, you goddamn hypocrite. You copied this shit yourself with The Force Awakens and reused aspects in Ralph McQuarrie's design for the entire trilogy. So that's hypocritical. Hey, dumbass. Let me give you a quick common sense lesson. If you're going to try and school people on the past and tell people to let it go, Disney, Caitlin, Bob, Rian Johnson, then genius, you got to do something new and original. You got to do new and original shit yourself before you say that shit. You can't just sit there and copy the aesthetic and copy the atmosphere and try every solitary 5 goddamn seconds to recapture the original trilogy atmosphere and tone at all times. You are the last motherfucker on planet Earth to be telling anybody, oh, you need to just let it go. Let go of these nuts. I got your let it go right here. Oh no, the prequels had slapstick, son of a bitch, motherfucker, dumbass. The new trilogy has fucking slapstick. So you talk all that shit about how the prequels are quote unquote such shit when, bitch, this had the exact same fucking shit in its goddamn film. They did that shit too. Why the fuck does this new trilogy always get the free pass, but the prequels is the butt of jokes for a bunch of hacks? Yes, that's hypocritical, and yes, Dave Filoni retconning the EU just for Clone Wars before Disney, and yet he's retconning Disney canon himself. Hack. Rian Johnson claiming he's tackling deep concepts for a franchise he didn't even research. Hack. Hollywood writers not thinking, maybe I should learn about what the goddamn lore is before I start fucking with shit. Hacks. Hollywood has these annoying ass hacks who just want to stroke the cock of their ego to sit there and say, oh, look at me. I'm one of the people who got to make Star Wars. Listen, you annoying cocksucker. Get the fuck over your insipid ego and realize you need to research and value the franchise before you start grabbing shit and fucking with it. Use your brain, dumbass. Use your brain. Research this shit and be loyal to this shit. Don't just fuck with this shit. And it's hypocritical. You got the fucking audacity and nerve to tell fans, oh, you need to let it go. Hashtag, you're the problem. Caitlyn, you fucking bitch. You're the goddamn problem. And Cosmonaut can suck this dick. Talking about, oh, Kashyyyka's no significance. The prequels are such shit. Well, you people talking shit for once in your fucking life. Get the fuck over your insipid ego and shut the fuck up. Those movies are actually fucking intelligent. And this day and age, that's a hell of a lot more than what you can say for most films, let alone most of Disney's Star Wars. Your canon sucks ass. And where's The Force Unleashed? And where's Kyle Katarn? Where's Jaina Solo? Where the fuck are all the mature, deep, and profound Star Wars stories? Why don't you adapt it or make new stories with some original ideas? You want to take away the entire expanded universe? Oh wow, fine. But what are you going to replace it with? Something new? Instead, they duplicate aspects of the original trilogy throughout the new trilogy. Then they have the balls because Caitlyn, this bitch, is hypocritical, and Ryan, that hack, is hypocritical. And they say, oh, you need to let it go, and you're the problem when these motherfuckers are copying this shit themselves. So what exactly are the problems with the new trilogy? I'm glad you asked. If you want to know the ins and outs of Star Wars nonsense, well, you've come to the right place. And Star Wars is incredible. What Disney has been doing is the real nonsense. So you've come. Tarragon was angry and had to calm down for a sec. You see, it all began with The Force Awakens. Now, this is supposed to be a fun movie, right? Well, yes, it has action, it has humor, and it's intense and kind of fun. So what's the issue? Well, you took the entire story template and duplicated entire plot points and shot for shot, damn near identically recaptured A New Hope. That's what. You copied and didn't have an original bone in your body. You also lacked character development for each character and didn't have a lick of subtlety and nuance throughout the entire film, aside from that one scene in the beginning with Rey putting on the helmet. If only they had more scenes like that. The Last Jedi, I get it. You want to tackle deep stuff in Star Wars, and yes, I get it. Luke doesn't have to be the way he was in the expanded universe or the original trilogy. However, I don't care about that. The fact that you broke his entire character to the ultimate extreme level and wanted him to contemplate killing a kid instead of using common sense and just talking to him was fucking stupid. The fact that you had some of the worst slapstick and humor while you're supposed to be tackling themes of slavery and animals' rights kind of defeats the seriousness and depth of what you claim to be tackling. The fact that each time they're going on some deep lesson about the Force or motifs, it's interrupted and unanswered by a joke in between every single time. The fact that you followed the same flaws but had the nerve to get on J.J. Abrams for what he did. When you continued the trend yourself, Ryan, of having unanswered questions and having Rey go through no character development whatsoever. The fact that you had an opportunity for Luke Skywalker himself to train Rey and you go and you throw it away in the film is so fucking lame. That sucks so fucking hard, dude. Like, Luke was wasted in this movie. And number 3, treatment of original trilogy characters. In Cobra Kai, they develop the original characters and new characters. They treat them with a level of respect, given what they've been through and how they developed up to this point. In the new trilogy and in video games, like in The Last of Us 2, yes, I'm going there. They treat original characters like shit and kill them off in the worst, most poorly and sloppily written way possible. Case in point, Han Solo's death. What the fuck was that? First off, the movie hints that Han Solo is Force sensitive. Interesting. So if that's the case, how could he sense his son but not sense his intentions? Second, Han Solo sees Kylo, and Kylo, for some weird-ass reason, wants to hold a fucking lightsaber and look at his dad and say, I need help, holding my lightsaber. You know, no joke intended. And I'm like, what motherfucker wants someone or their dad to hold their damn lightsaber? And that doesn't even sound right. Again, no joke intended. It sounds suspicious, though. Who asked someone to hold their lightsaber? That makes no sense. But yeah, and then Solo, given how smart and crafty he was in the original trilogy, you don't think he'd think a bit harder about that and say, that sounds suspicious, and oh yeah, isn't my son a Sith Lord or a Sith Lord in training now? Damn, and I can sense him in the Force, so I can't assess his intentions. But even without the Force, you could tell Kylo had bad intentions. But Solo couldn't even with Force sensitivity. He couldn't even when eyes holding out the lightsaber and making it more and more obvious. That's some sloppy, poorly written excuse to kill him off just because Harrison Ford wanted him to be killed off. Or he wouldn't have agreed to playing him one last time because he hates the character. So, you could have wrote that scene way better. Or you could have wrote a death with better storytelling than that. Killing him off, that is sloppy and awful. No care or attention to detail whatsoever. Number 4, The Rise of Skywalker. Just when you thought there could be hope for the new trilogy, The Force Awakens copied A New Hope. Wasn't original, had no depth, no subtlety, no nuance. But hey, it was kind of fun. Then you got The Last Jedi, not researching the universe, yet they want to tackle deep themes and it splits the entire fan base. Didn't resonate with everyone and they sabotaged entire characters by having them contemplate killing a kid, thus contradicting a prior decision of sparing their own dad, but not thinking that way about their own nephew, and he was asleep, unlike Vader, who was trying to fight him and threaten Leia. But hey, The Last Jedi was trying to tackle deep themes. So at least a commendable idea. However, this split fans in a huge way. And you had an opportunity to potentially do something about the fact that these movies are missing a lot of careful attention to detail. Tackle these ideas better. The Rise of Skywalker was your chance. Hey, at least these movies aren't all that bad. Or at least they have something of substance and quality. However, by the time the movie wrapped up, it wasn't just bad, people. It wasn't just bad. It's so much more. It's fucking the single worst thing in the Star Wars saga ever fucking made. The pacing, awful, overly fast, like they pulled their heart full of adrenaline. The storytelling, rushed and ham-fisted, coming across like a parody of the Star Wars universe. The dialogue, the absolute worst. And people talk about the prequels. That shit had some intelligent lines. What in the fuck is this? This had some of the worst dialogue and lines I've ever heard in the entire franchise. This is a disgrace. And they should never have released the movie under these conditions. It's the single most unemotionally connected, most disconnected, most uncaring, most forced, and most rushed Star Wars project ever made. And people talk about the prequels. You can't single out the prequels after seeing this. Well, this is what I'm laying down. The sequel trilogy is so sad because it had all this potential. You could have used the expanded universe. Oh, you want to get rid of it? Great. New original ideas separate from the expanded universe. I loved those stories as a kid, and I still read into them now as an adult. Yet, despite this, I'm open to decanonization. Fine, let's see a new original timeline. Dude, you didn't even do anything original and just copied from the original trilogy because you were afraid of prequel backlash. So wow, I'm open to the idea. And you didn't even do anything original in the midst of that idea. So wow. People get on the prequels, but these films that threw away original characters had them die from force projections or poorly, sloppily written deaths with no storytelling or any kind of substance or build-up, and yet they complain about the prequels? Wow. That's not hypocritical or anything. However, I digress. The sequel trilogy, this is what I'm laying down, and this was Tarragon, and I'm now out this piece. Thank you for watching.